Hey, Sam here, and I know your day's crazy, but I've got a quick idea to take your stress from overwhelmed to under control. So let's tackle systems from the classroom to your living room, one simple step at a time. This is the Simple Systems with Sam podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to our Summer of Systems. Before we get too far into today, I want to share with you something that I've been working on for a pretty long time. In fact, I have an original copy of my Classroom Essentials Readiness Checklist, which is a whole mouthful of things to say, that I created in the summer of 2020. And this was intended for new teachers who were really struggling to figure out where to start, or were spending so much time focusing on the looks and aesthetics of their classroom that they may have forgotten to do things like bathroom passes or late work policies. And I got caught off guard so many times my first year that I knew I wanted to save other people from that stress and almost humiliation in front of a bunch of middle schoolers. So I created a checklist of the things that are essentials, the things that you really should have in place to make sure that your sanity is in line and you have a firm grasp on what is going to happen in your classroom starting day one. Everything else can come after, but I promise you, by focusing on the policies and routines and templates in your classroom, you are going to make the rest of your year easier. And while I love this sheet, it was time for a change. Now I have created a new Classroom Essentials setup guide. So there are still pretty much everything from the original checklist, but now I've added in templates that I really think every teacher should have. And we're going to go through those on the podcast and on the YouTube channel so that I can help everybody set up templates the way that are going to work for you. But I've also added in tons and tons of links so that anytime I have a referenced podcast episode or I have an example of a worksheet, I can link it in there for you so that it makes it so much easier to run into your first year, head held high, and excitement all at a 10 with less than 10 stress. So you can go ahead and start your first year with less stress and feel like you have everything under control. So I'm going to set the link to this free Classroom Essentials Setup Guide in the description, or you can head over to www.engineerdoeseducation.com/setup. I'll have it waiting there for you. All right, but to get into today's episode, we are getting back into some basics, because before we move forward into more of our Summer of Systems, I want to talk about some mindset things that we have to have in line to make some of the important decisions to set up our systems. And so today we're going to talk about 3 steps for more productivity. 3 things that we're going to start considering in all aspects of our day to make things more productive and work with us instead of against us. But I'm going to give you some straightforward tips that are going to help you apply it in the classroom and at home and even in your personal life. And I'll give you some examples of each of those. So tip number 1 is make it simpler. When you are looking to have more productivity and more efficiency in your day, you need to make things simpler. And it doesn't have to be by a lot. If you've heard about my trash can saga, I became obsessed with trash cans very early on in my career because I had a professor who had saved a corporation millions of dollars by shifting trash can locations like a foot. The amount of lost time that was recovered by putting trash cans closer to where people were was absolutely astounding to me. And it made me so excited in the nerdiest way possible to try to see how I can implement that other places. If you think about it, if you've ever been to Disney, Disney's trash cans are 30 feet apart from each other because they're making it easier for people to throw away trash so that they don't have to clean up as much. And while I'm not telling you you need to have a trash can every 10 feet in your house, I am saying that there are ways that we can simplify things so that they are not as hard and we can make ourselves more productive. So what about any part of your day can be simplified? You can change where things are located, like trash cans. I put an excessive amount of trash cans in my classroom, and it's because it works. It keeps things streamlined, clutter-free, and students are always aware that there is a classroom right next to them to throw their wrappers away in. The next way to consider making things simpler is the order that you are currently doing things in. Can you restructure the order or pattern of a routine to make more sense? For instance, if you go back to our episode about gateway tasks, they are going to be the ones that unleash everything else. For instance, I'm going to use my kids and breakfast as an example. This isn't something we've fully implemented, but something I've been toying around with. When we have pancakes for breakfast, don't know about your kids, but my kids want to drink the syrup off of the plate. So here they are, they've gotten up, they've gotten dressed and ready for the day, and they pour syrup all down the front of their shirt, their dress, whatever they're wearing, and then they have to go change. Instead, wouldn't it make more sense in the long run and simplify things if they ate breakfast in their pajamas, and then those pajamas that they're already going to throw in the laundry basket because for some reason we don't believe in re-wearing pajamas, working on that one too, then they're already going to put those pajamas away and then they can get dressed. And we've avoided the crisis of a last minute morning outfit change just because we took things a little bit out of order, but so they make more sense and simplify things for our day. Another thing you could do is just eliminate excess steps. When you're thinking about a process you can do, what steps can you completely cut out? And it can be something so small. For instance, my skincare routine, I'm not great at it if I'm going to be totally honest, but one thing that I have done is anything in my bathroom that has a cap on it that is just sitting on a counter, those caps are gone. I only really have caps on like liquid foundation and my toothpaste. I've thrown out every single other cap. If it's already got a pump lid on it, that's good enough for me. But by taking the cap off, putting the cap back on, losing the cap somewhere on the counter, rolling into a drawer, whatever, I'm just simplifying my day. I am making things a little bit simpler as I go. This is a really great one to consider when you're looking at school. What types of things are really just sucking your time and energy, and what can you do to make it simpler? Can you change where things are located? Can you change the order of steps for things to be completed in? Or can you eliminate excess steps? We'll talk more about this when we talk about different processes and routines in your classroom, but it's something to really look at. All right, the second step for productivity is make it matter. There are times where we're doing things that really do not matter. And if they don't truly matter, but we have to get it done, we can make that matter. And it sounds very philosophical the more I say it out loud, but I promise you it is very applicable. Let's look back at our episode on habit stacking. We had different ways that we could stack habits together so that we can build a stronger routine and make the most of our time. But what if I told you even like the microwave? Do you do this at home? Whenever I have something in the microwave, I use that as a challenge to see how much I can get done. Instead of spending my time quote unquote wasted standing in front of the microwave while I wait for that minute to count down, how much can I make matter in that time? Can I do some squats? Can I move some stuff from this side of the counter into the sink? Can I unload some dishes from the dishwasher? When you're driving to and from somewhere, does that time matter? Do you need that time to decompress and de-stress? Because if so, leave it as it is. If not, and you're kind of just sitting there twiddling your thumbs, instead of listening to music, you could listen to a podcast or an audiobook, or you can Marco Polo with some friends. You can make that time matter and have an importance to it. The same thing goes with working out. The same thing goes with any goal that you have. If you're still trying to get motivated to do something, like let's say running, make it matter and stack another habit into running. Something that you're excited about, something that has that positive emotional return for you, and only do it when you're running. So that way now running matters to you because you are only doing running dates with your BFF. And so you have to be able to go make it on that run to spend time with her, which means that you are making that time matter to you and it's going to motivate you to complete it. You're also kind of killing two birds with one stone, so you're being more productive. I don't really like the phrase killing two birds with one stone, but here we are. That's all I've got. All right, number 3 for steps for productivity. Like Elsa said, just let it go. Let it go. If it's taking up time, space, or energy that you do not have, you can't make it simpler, you can't make it matter, what is it doing in your life? It's not improving it. It's not building anything for you. It's just bringing you down. And so simplifying things by reducing them and letting them go makes us more productive in the long run. But it's so hard because it feels so final. And it kind of is. But in reality, we're not just talking about things, right? We can delegate tasks to other people. We can let go of a task, let go of an event. We do not have to be the ones to be in charge and responsible for everything. We can donate items that we know still have a long life but are just not serving us. Or we could delete things, and we could delete tasks off our calendar. We can delete things out of our lives. We can delete apps off our phone that are stealing our time. If it's not worth your time, space, or energy, you can't go ahead and reduce it or make it matter. You gotta let it go. So these are 3 quick mindset shifts that are going to help us as we form around new routines and new policies, not only in our classroom, but in our personal lives. And I really hope you take some of this to heart, because we are diving in to so much goodness in the next month. I cannot wait to see you there. Until next time.
Thanks for hanging out today. I hope that this simple step will help build big results in your classroom, home, and life. Remember to subscribe, review, and tag me on social media @EngineerDoesEducation so we can build a simple system together.